Hello everyone, my name is Pooja Koiri. I did my post-graduation in chemistry and recently I completed my B.Ed. And I am from Kolkata and my schooling is from ICSE background. So this is all about me. Let's dive into the topic. Today we will study about Dalton's atomic theory, which is a chapter of class 9. Atom and molecule. So to understand Dalton's atomic theory, we have to know about the history of atoms. So before that, we have to know matter. What is matter? So matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Just see around us, this pen, this have mass and it occupies a space. This board has mass and occupies space. So all these are matter. Anything around here, this laptop, this is also a matter because it has a mass and it occupies. So there came an idea in 600 BC to Maharishi Kannad that what will happen if we keep on dividing a matter which he called as Padarth into its smallest particle. He said that if we keep on dividing a matter into its smallest particle, we get the smallest indivisible particle which he called as Paramanu, which we cannot break it any further. If we break a chalk, we will get a smaller pieces of chalk. And one time will come that we cannot break it any further. So all this idea came to Maharishi Kannad when he chewed a rice grain inside his mouth. So he found that a rice grain, a time has come that a rice grain cannot be broken any further. From this, Maharishi Kannad came into conclusion that any matter is made up of an indivisible particle which he called as Paramanu. After Maharishi Kannad, then came the Democritus and Leucippus, the Greek philosopher, who also has given the same idea that if we keep on dividing a matter, we will get our smallest particle which cannot be divided any further. And that smallest particle is he called as atomus. Atomus in Greek is a Greek word which means indivisible. And today that atomus is known as atom. So atom is the smallest unit of the fact given by the philosophers Maharishi Kannad, Leucippus and Democritus does not contain any experimental evidences. Thus the people around the world was not ready to believe on what they were saying. So at that time there came a French scientist Antoine Lavoisier and another Joseph Proust, who gave the law of chemical combination. What is the first law of chemical combination which was given by Lavoisier? So Lavoisier talked about in the first law that there is a conservation of mass occurred in a chemical reaction. That matter is neither created nor destroyed during a chemical reaction. For example, if we take an example, we are taking acid in one test tube and base in another test tube, which are x gram acid and x gram base, and we are pouring them into an conical flask. Salt and water will form in the chemical reaction, and this will be x plus x, that is 2x amount. So from this we can understand that the mass is conserved. So mass is neither created or not destroyed during an chemical reactions. So though the newly formed matter is forming, that is salt and water, which is made from acid and base, their quantity is remaining the same. That is, the reactant and product is in same amount. If reactant is 50 gram, the product forming is also 50 gram, though the new mass is formed. Talk about the second law of chemical combination, which is the law of constant proportion, which was given by Joseph Proust, which says that in a compound the elements are present in a definite proportion by mass. So if we want to make CO2, we need carbon and oxygen. It is not possible that when carbon is not available, we cannot make CO2. So they are present in a CO2. Carbon and oxygen are present in a definite amount by mass. So if it is 44, this will also be 44. So if we take water from any parts of the world, suppose tap water, pond water or ocean water, their composition will always remain same, that is H2O. So the next problem faced by the scientists at that time was to give appropriate explanation to the law of chemical combination, which was given by Lavoisier and Proust. Then came Sir Dalton. Sir Dalton came up with the idea of his atomic theory. He was inspired by the 2000 years old philosophers Maharishi Kanat and Democritus. Sir Dalton picked up the idea from the divisibility of matter into atom, which was till then just a philosophy. Law of chemical combination, Sir Dalton came into conclusion that law of conservation of mass is only possible when in a chemical reactions the atoms are rearranging themselves. Suppose we take NaCl, NaOH plus HCl. It will lead to the formation of NaCl and H2O. It is only possible, conservation of mass is only possible when the particles in them are rearranging themselves. From the second law of chemical combination, Dalton came into conclusion that the elements in a compounds are alike in nature, whatever if we brought it from another parts of the world. So let's see what Dalton has proposed in his theory. So in his first postulates, he said that all matter is made up of very tiny particles, which he called as atoms, and atom is the fundamental particle unit of a matter. Since atom is the fundamental unit of a matter, in his second postulates, he says that atom is indivisible. It is neither created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. That is, in a chemical reaction, you can create a new substances but not new atom. Let's take an example. If we make Pb plus 2HCl, which is forming PbCl2 plus H2. So here only the atoms of lead, chlorine and hydrogen is present, and in the reactant side also lead and H and Cl is present. Here no new atom is forming but a new substance is created. So let's see, if we take two atoms of a same element, are they same or different? If we take, let's take a weight balance. If we take hydrogen in one and hydrogen in the other, we will see that they are same by their mass and characteristics. And in another weight balance, let's take hydrogen in one and let's take oxygen in another. We will see that oxygen has more mass and their characteristics are different. Dalton in his third and fourth postulate says that same element have their mass and characteristics same, and in his fourth postulates he says that different element characteristics and mass are different. So if you take gold bar, if we take a gold bar and if we keep on dividing, we will get the gold atoms. We will get the gold atom only. And if we take a silver bar, and if we keep on dividing, we will get the silver atom. In gold we cannot get silver atom. So the same element have their mass and characteristics identical, and different elements have different mass and characteristics. So the first 4 points of Dalton postulates was just from the inferences of the law of chemical combination. Now let's move on to the most interesting part of Dalton's atomic theory. Have you ever thought about how atoms get combined in a chemical reactions? Have you ever heard that atoms combine in a half atom is combining in a reactions? No, right? So atoms combine in a smallest whole number ratio, and the ratio is always small. So for example, if we take methane, so the ratio here is 1:4. So in a chemical, so the atom combine to form a compound, and in the compound the ratio of the atoms are in a smallest whole number. So lastly, in his 6 postulates, he said that in a compound the kind of atoms and the relative number of atoms are always same, though you have taken it from any parts or any phase. So for example, water in solid, liquid or gas phase their composition is always same, that is 2:1. So let's recap what Dalton has said on his atomic theory. To give theoretical basis to the law of chemical combination, John Dalton proposed Dalton's atomic theory. So in his first postulate, he has said that all matter is made up of a tiny particle called atom. In second postulate, he has said that atoms are neither created nor destroyed during chemical reactions. In his third postulate, he had said that same element have their mass and characteristics same, and in different element contains different mass and different characteristics. In his fifth point, he has said that atoms combine in a whole number ratio, and ratios are always small. And in sixth point, he has said that in a compound, kind of atom and relative number are always same. You have learned something new today. Keep learning. Thank you. So from today's discussions, Dalton's atomic theory gave us a perspective to view properties of matter. And Dalton recorded his 6 postulates in a book called A New System of Chemical Philosophy, which was a blessing to the scientific community, since after that chemistry was developed as a separate branch.